In a bold and potentially game-changing move, the ANC in Gauteng has declared its full support for a judicial inquiry into the South African Police Service, SAPS, vowing to sever ties with any of its members found to be implicated in wrongdoing. This comes amid mounting allegations of corruption, misconduct, and political interference within SAPS. With public trust in law enforcement at an all-time low, the provincial ANC's stance signals a shift toward accountability and reform. As pressure mounts and scrutiny intensifies, this could mark a turning point in the fight to restore integrity within both the police service and the ruling party's own ranks. The African National Congress, ANC, in Gauteng has come out in full support of a judicial inquiry into the South African Police Service, SAPS, a move that is sending powerful ripples through the political and law enforcement landscape. In what many are calling a defining moment for the provincial ANC's relationship with both the public and its internal structures, the party has boldly declared its intention to distance itself from any members implicated in wrongdoing. This shift comes at a time when public trust in law enforcement is hanging by a thread and political accountability remains under sharp national scrutiny. The ANC in Gauteng appears to be signaling that the time for sweeping under the rug is over, and the time for deep institutional reflection has arrived. The call for a judicial inquiry into the SAPS is not a casual proposal, it's a response to growing concerns over corruption, misconduct, inefficiency, and allegations of political interference within the police service. For far too long, the SAPS has been caught in the crossfire of controversy, ranging from unexplained inaction on criminal investigations to links with criminal syndicates, bribery, and intimidation tactics. Communities have grown tired of calling for help only to be ignored, and officers once regarded as protectors have increasingly come to be seen as complicit participants in a deteriorating security environment. The ANC in Gauteng has made it clear, the status quo is not acceptable, and something must give. At the core of this push lies a desire to not only restore public trust in the police service but to clean house within its own political ranks. The provincial ANC leadership did not mince words in affirming that any of its members found to be entangled in these corrupt webs will be swiftly distanced from the party. This marks a break from previous tendencies of political shielding and ambiguous disciplinary action. The message is unmistakable: the ANC in Gauteng is choosing principle over loyalty, at least in appearance, and seems prepared to make painful sacrifices to re-establish credibility. What's particularly striking about this development is the context in which it arises. Gauteng, the economic heartbeat of South Africa, has been under immense pressure due to rising crime, worsening policing standards, and growing discontent among citizens. From township protests to middle-class outrage, the demand for law enforcement reform is no longer the rallying cry of fringe activists, it is now a mainstream necessity. The ANC in the province seems to understand that clinging to compromised individuals and resisting calls for scrutiny would only further alienate voters and entrench the narrative of a party detached from the realities of everyday South Africans. There's also a strategic undertone to the move. The ANC nationally has faced waning support in recent elections, and Gauteng has been a political battleground where control can swing depending on public perception. Backing a judicial inquiry could be interpreted as a preemptive step toward repairing fractured relationships with communities and demonstrating a willingness to self-correct. It's a gamble that says, we are listening. We are taking action. We are not afraid to confront our own. Whether the sentiment translates into real consequences for those implicated remains to be seen, but symbolically, it is a powerful declaration. The pressure cooker that led to this moment has been long in the making. Numerous reports, both formal and informal, have painted a grim picture of law enforcement's capabilities and integrity. Whistleblowers within SAPS have spoken out about internal sabotage, politically motivated promotions, and evidence tampering. High-profile scandals involving senior officers have become alarmingly frequent. As this mountain of allegations grows, it's become clear that cosmetic reforms won't be enough. A full judicial inquiry, with subpoena powers and legal backing, could unravel a systemic rot, and the ANC in Gauteng wants to be seen as the force pushing for that unraveling. Yet, the implications of this move go beyond the police service. The promise to distance the party from implicated members raises a host of questions. Who decides who is implicated? Will it be based on internal investigations, judicial outcomes, or public sentiment? And how far will the party go in enforcing this distancing? If implemented sincerely, this could lead to a political purge of sorts within the provincial ANC. It could strain relationships, trigger factional retaliation, and expose deeper networks of influence and corruption. On the other hand, if the promise is diluted or selectively enforced, the public could see it as yet another hollow gesture, more political theatre than reform. Observers are also keenly watching how this position will interact with national leadership. Will Luthuli House echo Gauteng's sentiments, or will it attempt to slow the momentum to protect influential figures? If Gauteng succeeds in pushing through a credible inquiry and cleansing its ranks, it could set a precedent for other provinces, or shine an unflattering spotlight on those that fail to follow suit. The ANC as a whole is facing a moment of reckoning, and Gauteng is carving out a role as a potential reformist leader within the organization. It's also worth considering the broader impact on policing culture. A judicial inquiry could reveal much more than just corruption. It might highlight structural issues, outdated systems, and the psychological toll of policing in a fractured society. The hope is that by shining a light into the dark corners, the country can begin rebuilding a police service that is truly in service of the people. That's no small feat, and it will require more than just political posturing. It demands commitment, transparency, and sustained reform. The ANC in Gauteng has thrown down a gauntlet. It has committed itself to backing a process that could expose some of its own. It has vowed to walk away from those who fall on the wrong side of justice. It has chosen a path that is fraught with risks but also ripe with potential for genuine renewal. In a time of political fatigue and public cynicism, this could be the breath of integrity that the province, and perhaps the country, has been waiting for. Now, all eyes are on what happens next. Will this support for a judicial inquiry be followed by tangible steps, or will it fade into the background like so many political pledges before it? Will implicated members be removed swiftly and transparently, or will internal politics muddy the waters? These are the questions that will define the ANC's credibility in the weeks and months to come. For now, though, the ANC in Gauteng has spoken with clarity, and that alone is a spark in a landscape desperate for change.